Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Behrend. Forward. These pages have been written for the purpose of furnishing you a key to the attainment of your desires, and to explain that fear should be entirely banished from your consciousness in order for you to obtain possession of the things you want. This presupposes, of course, that your desire for possession is based upon your aspiration for greater happiness. For example, you feel that the possession of more money, lands, or friends will make you happier, and your desire for possession of these things arises from a conviction that their possession will bring you freedom and contentment. In your effort to possess, you will discover that the thing you most need is to consistently be your best self. One morning after class, a man came to me and asked if I would speak the word of supply for him, as he was sadly in the need of money. He offered me a $5 bill with the remark, "Dear madam, that is half of every dollar I have in the world. I am in debt, my wife and child have not the proper clothing, in fact, I must have money." I explained to him that money was the symbol of differentiated substance, that this substance filled all space, that it was present for him at that very moment, and would manifest to him as the money he required. But he questioned, "It may come too late." I told him it could not come too late, as it was eternally present. He understood and got the uplift of my spoken word. I did not see the man again, but 6 months later I had a letter from him stating he was in New Orleans. He said, "I am well established here in my regular profession of photography, I own my own home, have an automobile of my own, and am generally prospering. And dear Mrs. Behrend, I want to thank you for lifting me out of the depths that day in New York. 3 days after I talked to you, a man whom I have not seen for years met me on the street. When I explained my situation to him, he loaned me the money to pay my bills and come down here. The enclosed check is to help you continue your wonderful work of teaching people how to mentally reach out and receive their never-failing supply. I would not take anything for my understanding as you have given it to me. God bless you." A feeling that greater possessions, no matter of what kind they may be, will of themselves bring contentment or happiness, is a misunderstanding. No person, place, or thing can give you happiness. They may give you cause for happiness and a feeling of contentment, but the joy of living comes from within. Therefore, it is here recommended that you should make the effort to obtain the things which you feel will bring you joy, provided that your desires are in accord with the joy of living. It is also desired, in this volume, to suggest the possibilities in store for all who make persistent effort to understand the law of visualization, and who make practical application of this knowledge on whatever plane they may be. The word effort as here employed is not intended to convey the idea of strain. All study and meditation should be without strain or tension. It has been my endeavor to show that by starting at the beginning of the creative action, or mental picture, certain corresponding results are sure to follow. While the laws of the universe cannot be altered, they can be made to work under specific conditions, thereby producing results for individual advancement, which cannot be obtained under the spontaneous workings of the law provided by nature. However far these suggestions I have given of the possibilities in store for you, through visualizing, may carry you beyond your past experience, they nowhere break the continuity of the law of cause and effect. If through the suggestions here given, anyone is brought to realize that his mind is a center through, and in which all power there is in operation, simply waiting to be given direction in the one and only way through which it can take specific action, and this means reaction in concrete or physical form, then the mission to which this book is dedicated has been fulfilled. Try to remember that the picture you think, feel, and see is reflected into the universal mind, and by the natural law of reciprocal action, must return to you in either spiritual or physical form. Knowledge of this law of reciprocal action between the individual and the universal mind opens to you free access to all you may wish to possess or to be. It must be steadfastly borne in mind that all this can be true only for the individual who recognizes that he derives his power to make an abiding mental picture from the all-originating universal spirit of life, and can be used constructively only so long as it is employed and retained in harmony with the nature of the spirit which originated it. To ensure this, there must be no inversion of the thought of the individual regarding his relationship to this universal originating spirit, which is that of a son, through which the parent mind acts and reacts. Thus conditioned, whatever you think and feel yourself to be, the creative spirit of life is bound to faithfully reproduce in a corresponding reaction. This is the great reason for picturing yourself and your affairs the way you wish them to be as existing facts, though invisible to the physical eye and living in your picture. An honest endeavor to do this, always recognizing that your own mind is a projection of the originating spirit, will prove to you that the best there is yours in all your ways. G.B. Los Angeles, California, May, 1929. Chapter 1. Order of Visualization. The exercise of the visualizing faculty keeps your mind in order and attracts to you the things you need to make life more enjoyable in an orderly way. If you train yourself in the practice of deliberately picturing your desire and carefully examining your picture, you will soon find that your thoughts and desires proceed in a more orderly procession than ever before. Having reached a state of ordered mentality, you are no longer in a constant state of mental hurry. Hurry is fear and consequently destructive. In other words, when your understanding grasps the power to visualize your heart's desire and hold it with your will, it attracts to you all things requisite to the fulfillment of that picture by the harmonious vibrations of the law of attraction. You realize that since order is heaven's first law and visualization places things in their natural order, then it must be a heavenly thing to visualize. Everyone visualizes, whether he knows it or not. Visualizing is the great secret of success. The conscious use of this great power attracts to you multiplied resources, intensifies your wisdom, and enables you to make use of advantages which you formerly failed to recognize. A lady once came to me for help in selling a piece of property. After I explained to her just how to make a mental picture of the sale, going through the details mentally, exactly as she would do if the property were sold, she came a week later and told me how one day she was walking along the street, when the thought suddenly occurred to her to go and see a certain real estate dealer, to whom she had not yet been. She hesitated for a moment when she first got the idea, as it seemed to her that that man could not sell her property. However, upon the strength of what I had told her, she followed the lead and went to the real estate man, who sold the property for her in just 3 days after she had first approached him. This was simply following along with the natural law of demand and supply. We now fly through the air, not because anyone has been able to change the laws of nature, but because the inventor of the flying machine learned how to apply nature's laws and, by making orderly use of them, produce the desired result. So far as the natural forces are concerned, nothing has changed since the beginning. There were no airplanes in the year 1 because those of that generation could not conceive the idea as a practical, working possibility. It has not yet been done was the argument, and it cannot be done. Yet the laws and materials for practical flying machines existed then as now. Troward tells us that the great lesson he learned from the airplane and wireless telegraphy is the triumph of principle over precedent. The working out of an idea to its logical conclusion in spite of accumulated contrary testimony of all past experience. With such an example before you, you must realize that there are still greater secrets to be disclosed. Also, that you hold the key within yourself, with which to unlock the secret chamber that contains your heart's desire. All that is necessary in order that you may use this key and make your life exactly what you wish it to be, is a careful inquiry into the unseen causes which stand back of every external and visible condition. Then bring these unseen causes into harmony with your conception, and you will find that you can make practical working realities of possibilities, which at present seem but fantastic dreams. A woman came to me in New York City, asking for help as she was out of work. I spoke the word of ever-present supply for her and intensified it by mentally seeing the woman in the position she dreamed of, but which she had been unable to make a practical reality. That same afternoon she telephoned and said she could hardly believe her senses, as she had just taken exactly the kind of a position she wanted. The employer told her she had been wanting a woman like her for months. We all knew that the balloon was the forefather of the airplane. In 1766, Henry Cavendish, an English nobleman, proved that hydrogen gas was 7 times lighter than air. From that discovery the balloon came into existence, and from the ordinary balloon the dirigible, a cigar-shaped airship, was evolved. Study of aeronautics and laws of the aerial locomotion of birds and projectiles led to the belief that mechanism could be evolved, by which heavier-than-air machines could be made to travel from place to place and remain in the air by the maintenance of great speed, which would overcome by propulsive force the ordinary law of gravitation. Professor Langley of Washington, who developed much of the theory which others afterward improved upon, was subjected to much derision when he sent a model airplane up, only to have it bury its nose in the muddy waters of the Potomac. But the Wright brothers, who experimented later, realized the possibility of traveling through the air in a machine that had no gas bag. They saw themselves enjoying this mode of transportation with great facility. It is said that one of the brothers would tell the other, when their varied experiences did not turn out as they expected, "It's all right, brother, I can see myself riding in that machine, and it travels easily and steadily." Those Wright brothers knew what they wanted and kept their pictures constantly before them. Now transportation through the air is developing rapidly, and we all feel sure it will in the near future become as ordinary a method of travel as the automobile. In visualizing or making a mental picture, you are not endeavoring to change the laws of nature. You are fulfilling them. Your object in visualizing is to bring things into regular order, both mentally and physically. When you realize that this method of employing the creative power brings your desires, one after another, into practical, material accomplishment, your confidence in the mysterious, but unfailing law of attraction, which is its central power station in the very heart of your word picture, becomes supreme. Nothing can shake it. You never feel that it is necessary to take anything from anybody else. You have learned that asking and seeking have, as their correlatives, receiving and finding. You know that all you have to do is to start the plastic substance of the universe flowing into the thought molds your picture desire provides.